child, this beautiful daughter that I have, I decided I wanted to stay home. I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And then eventually when she went to school, I worked part-time. But it was around the time she was a junior in high school that I thought to myself, wow, Sammy's going to be going off and I'm going to be here. I really relate to the empty nest piece a lot. And I had gone to see Sarah Jones's Bridge and Tunnel, which is a great one-woman show about the immigrant experience. And I walked out of the theater loving it and thinking to myself, what's another universal theme that could be explored theatrically? And I thought, motherhood. There's so many literary anthologies. There had never really been a theatrical one on motherhood. So I called Joan, who's been a good friend for years, and we produced The Nerd together on Broadway. I can't date myself, it was a long time ago. And Joan lives in Los Angeles, I live in New York. And I said, Joan, we have to do something about motherhood, and if we can't get one person to write it, let's just call all of our favorite writers, all the playwrights we know. A lot of them are mothers, and we'll see what we come up with. So,
Joan, I mean, what did the playwrights say when you said, hey, I got this great idea? And I mean, were they all like on it, or
Yeah.
were anybody reluctant, or what?
No,
Tell us about that.
Nobody was reluctant. Our challenge was actually just sifting through our contacts, our friends, and the over 40 pieces that we commissioned from fantastic writers, most of whom are not represented on the stage, which has nothing to do with their talent or the quality of their writing, just had to do with our desire to have a 90-minute show versus motherhood Nicholas Nickleby. So, and we had to find, the shape of it and the form of it and the reason for it existing and a way to take all of these voices and make it feel as if it's one voice, because that's ultimately what we're talking about, is that everybody experiences this in a different way. And if it is not about you being a mother, and perhaps you're relating to it because of your own mother, or because you're an aunt, or an uncle, or a daughter, or a son, or a brother. And it was, so all of the writers we approached were completely interested.
I think, yeah, when you open up the subject of motherhood, most of them, I would say 90% of the stories are autobiographical, and everyone wants to tell their motherhood story. I think the big challenge for us was that we couldn't duplicate stories. So when we were reaching out to writers, we had to make sure that they didn't want to talk about something that somebody else was going to talk about. And then it became a very interesting process of how the evening got shaped. I'll just give you the abbreviated version. We would actually have workshops on both coasts because, writers need to sit with actors and work on their pieces, and we couldn't fly everybody back and forth. So we would have at least 2 a year, one in Los Angeles, one in New York. All the writers got to work with actors. But the abbreviated version of how it came together, first of all, we have a great director, Lisa Peterson. Once she came on board, the evening started to inform itself. When we decided there was going to be a man in the evening, and Marco Panett wrote that great piece on same-sex parenting, we said, well, we can't have an actor sit backstage and only have one piece. What else could we have him do? And, Joan and I are going through having, elderly parents. We're baby boomers, and we end up, whether you're male or female, role reversal, parenting your parents, becoming the mother. And so we thought that would be a really great thing to explore, and we were lucky enough to get a great piece by David Kale. And that's how the evening sort of started. There was going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, sort of like a life cycle.
It was really phenomenal. And I'm not saying that because you're sitting here, or I'm sucking up because I want to be on stage at some point. I'm just saying that it was really, really great, and I loved how it did progress. And my children are 12 and 13 and 15, and I remember a minute ago that when she said, "You can't be 35. You were just here 35 minutes ago." I know that feeling. I think everybody out here knows that feeling. If I could turn to you guys now and ask you, who wrote the one about Michael? Which that was it. Tell us about that and how that came to be.
It actually started with a modern love column I wrote for the New York Times a few years ago, which was about